You're listening to Swift News, your daily news briefing in just 10 minutes. This is episode 38, and it's June 10, 2025. Let's get into today's stories.
Okay, there's quite a bit happening across the globe today.
Absolutely. We're going to try and connect the dots for you, looking at everything from politics and the economy right through to tech and, well, those human stories that often get missed.
Sounds good. It's always interesting to see how these different areas influence each other on any given day.
Exactly. So let's kick off with politics and global affairs. A big one seems to be this new tech partnership between India and the U.S.
Yeah, that's definitely significant. It's focusing on AI, semiconductors, cybersecurity, really the cutting edge stuff.
So not just a standard agreement then.
No, not at all. This looks like a very deliberate strategic move. I mean, you have to see it in the context of global tech competition, particularly with China.
Right, building an alternative.
Pretty much. It's about strengthening that U.S.-India link, diversifying tech supply chains, and really pushing for, shared standards, maybe even a sort of democratic tech bloc. It's definitely got major implications for the global tech landscape.
Okay. And while they're forging future alliances, we're seeing these urgent humanitarian calls. Sudan and Yemen.
Yes, stark contrast, isn't it?
Yeah.
The UN is flagging critical levels of violence and, crucially, food insecurity. It's pretty grim.
Just the scale of it.
It's overwhelming. We're talking millions facing potential starvation, displacement, and the challenge of actually getting aid through with the fighting, damaged roads, bureaucracy. It's incredibly difficult.
Makes you realize how fragile things are.
It really raises questions about the global response, doesn't it?
Definitely. Elsewhere, more geopolitical pressure. The EU is looking at new sanctions on Belarus.
That's right. It's directly linked to Belarus's support for Russia in the Ukraine conflict. The idea is to squeeze the Lukashenko regime economically and politically.
So targeting key industries, individuals probably.
Typically, yeah. Things that generate revenue or people involved in supporting the conflict. It's part of that wider strategy to isolate Moscow and its allies in the region.
Okay. And a slightly more positive, though maybe fragile, development in Gaza. The ceasefire has been extended.
Yes, another 48 hours, which, sounds short, but it's absolutely vital.
It creates a window, right?
Exactly. A critical window for humanitarian aid, food, medicine to get to civilians who desperately need it. And it allows a bit more breathing room for those ongoing negotiations, whatever form they're taking.
Still feels very precarious, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
These temporary truces are always fragile. They can break down so easily. But every hour helps, potentially saves lives, keeps dialogue open.
Right. And shifting continents, President Xi has been in Nairobi.
Yeah, meeting with African leaders. China's continuing its big push in Africa, this time pledging investment in infrastructure and, interestingly, green energy projects.
Part of the Belt and Road Initiative still.
Central to it, really. It's about deepening those economic ties, securing resources, yes, but also expanding China's political influence across the continent, offering itself as a key partner for development.
The terms of those deals always generate discussion, though.
They certainly do. Sustainability, debt, those are ongoing questions.
Okay, let's pivot to business and the economy. Global stock markets seem fairly calm today.
Relatively stable, yeah. Which is interesting given everything else going on. It feels like investors are kind of holding their breath.
Waiting for something?
Seems like it. Mostly eyes on the U.S.-China trade talks. Any news there could really shift sentiment. And of course, they're watching Gaza too. Regional instability can always ripple outwards, affect oil prices, confidence.
So a wait-and-see situation.
Well, pretty much sums it up. Lots of underlying uncertainty.
Now, India's central bank,
Yeah.
signaling possible interest rate cuts. That sounds positive for their economy.
It does. The thinking is that inflation seems to be easing off while growth remains strong. That gives them room to potentially cut rates.
Which makes borrowing cheaper.
Exactly. For businesses, for consumers. It can help stimulate more investment, more spending, keep the economy ticking over nicely. It suggests confidence, definitely.
Okay. And Energy OPEC Plus is sticking to its plan to increase oil production.
Yep. They're maintaining the planned increase. Suggests they expect global demand to hold up, maybe rise with summer travel and activity.
But analysts are still predicting volatile prices.
Well, yeah. Because oil prices aren't just about supply and demand fundamentals anymore. Geopolitics, unexpected disruptions, economic forecasts, any of those can send prices swinging. So even with more supply, you can still get volatility. It's a complex mix.
Got it. Quick mention of Japan's tech sector having a good day.
Yeah, seems like some strong earnings reports from key tech companies there really boosted that specific sector.
Mhm.
Shows how company performance can drive specific rallies.
And Egypt getting a significant IMF loan.
Yes, $5 billion approved. Important to remember, these loans usually come with strings attached.
Reform commitments.
Exactly. Things like improving government finances, making the economy more market-driven. The IMF provides the funds to help stabilize things and support those reforms, hoping for long-term sustainable growth.
Right. Makes sense. Okay, let's dive into technology now. Apple's bringing in new privacy features.
They are enhanced encryption using AI for fraud detection. This is becoming a bigger focus for tech companies, partly driven by users wanting more control, partly by regulations.
So making data harder to access, spotting scams faster.
That's the idea. Stronger scrambling of your data and smarter systems trying to catch suspicious activity in real time. It's about giving users more security.
And Google's got a big initiative in rural India, digital literacy.
Yeah, this is really important, aiming to train 1 million people by the end of next year. It's not just about having a phone, right? It's about knowing how to use it safely and effectively.
Accessing services, education.
Exactly. Online education, finding jobs, e-commerce, government services. Bridging that digital divide is crucial for making sure tech progress benefits everyone, helps with economic development.
Staying with India, their space agency, ISRO, planning their first crewed space mission. That's huge.
It really is. Targeting 2026 for the Gaganyaan mission. It puts India in a pretty exclusive club of nations capable of human spaceflight.
Shows how far their program has come.
Definitely. Major advancements in rocketry, life support. It's part of that wider trend of more countries developing independent, ambitious space programs.
And closer to Earth, Tesla's building another gigafactory in India.
That's right, a second one. This one's for battery production and EV assembly. Clear signal about how important they see the Indian market becoming for electric vehicles.
Makes sense to build locally.
Oh, yeah. Avoids import duties, lowers costs, maybe helps them tailor cars for the local market, too. Big vote of confidence in India's manufacturing potential and the future of EVs there.
Okay, but there's also a warning. Cybersecurity experts flagging a rise in ransomware.
Yes, and specifically targeting small and medium-sized businesses, SMBs. They're often seen as easier targets than big corporations.
Because they might have fewer defenses.
Often, yeah. Less IT support, smaller budgets. And ransomware can be devastating, locking up all their data, grinding operations to a halt unless they pay.
So, the takeaway for any small business owner listening.
Basic cyber hygiene is absolutely essential. Strong passwords, two-factor authentication, regular backups, training staff not to click on dodgy links. It's not optional anymore. It's fundamental defense.
Really sobering. Okay, let's try and connect some more dots now, looking at culture, science, and those human stories. Bit of a mix here. Taylor Swift, K-pop.
Yeah, the cultural landscape snapshot is fascinating. You've got global phenomena like Taylor Swift breaking streaming records, showing that massive digital reach. Then Blackpink's is Lisa starting a solo tour, K-pop's continued global power.
Hollywood blockbusters alongside an exhibition on ancient Indian maritime trade.
Exactly. That blend of huge global entertainment and very specific local cultural expressions, like London's West End celebrating Pride Month, too. It shows that vibrancy, that mix.
And then environment and science. Again, a bit of a contrast, world leaders pledging climate action.
While we simultaneously hear about ongoing, alarming deforestation in the Amazon, that gap between pledges and reality is persistent, isn't it?
It really is. But there are positive steps, too. NASA's Artemis III rehearsal.
Yeah, concrete progress towards returning to the moon. And then more grounded science tackling immediate issues. India's big solar energy push. Kenyan scientists developing drought-resistant crops. That's vital adaptation work.
It shows science working on different scales, from moonshots to crop yields.
Precisely. Both aspiration and very necessary practical solutions to pressing problems like climate change and food security.
Which leads nicely into these really inspiring human stories, the Mumbai students' low-cost air purifier, for example.
These are great. It shows innovation isn't just happening in big labs. A student tackling local air pollution with an affordable solution, fantastic.
And communities rebuilding after wildfires in Canada.
Shows that resilience. Then you've got a doctor in Brazil using a mobile clinic to reach remote areas, Germany expanding its green schools for environmental education.
And that Kenyan teacher using tech for digital education.
Yeah, reaching thousands. All these examples show people actively tackling challenges, using ingenuity, community spirit, dedication. They're not just footnotes, they show real agency.
They really bring those bigger issues down to a human level, don't they? Show people finding ways forward.
Absolutely. They highlight that innovation and positive change are happening everywhere, often quietly, driven by individuals and communities responding to the world around them.
So quite a journey today. We've covered high-level politics, economic jitters, tech breakthroughs and threats, environmental worries alongside solutions, and these really powerful human stories.
It's a complex picture, isn't it? But seeing how a tech deal connects to geopolitics, how market stability links to global events, how climate change drives local innovation, it helps you build that bigger understanding.
So pulling it all together, what's the final thought for you, for our listeners? What should they take away from this snapshot of Juneteenth?
I think it's that interconnectedness, really. And maybe the tension between these huge global challenges, crises, climate change, and the simultaneous drive for progress, whether it's tech alliances or local ingenuity. It raises questions, doesn't it? Where is the balance shifting? How does individual action stack up against systemic issues? Thinking about all these threads, the politics, the economy, the tech, the human element, how do you, the listener, see them weaving together? And maybe where do you see the most potential, the most hope for positive change in the face of it all? Something to reflect on.